Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and I'm in my new video in Mastering GraphQL API tutorial series. In today's video, we will be going to learn how do we apply filters in Salesforce using GraphQL queries. So if you have gone through my previous videos, there I've explained how do we set up the environment to test the GraphQL query by using Postman, by using Altair. And before that, I prepared a video where I have explained about the GraphQL introduction and demonstration. So in today's video, we'll be going to learn that how to apply filters in Salesforce using GraphQL queries, because you know that filtering data efficiently is crucial for optimizing the performance and retrieving relevant records in Salesforce. So this video is for you. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to apply filters effectively in your queries. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Salesforce tutorials. So what exactly filters in GraphQL and why do we need that? In GraphQL, we can, if you want to apply filters in a GraphQL queries, using GraphQL queries, we can use where clause, and it is used to filter data based on the specific condition. And it is similar to the where clause in SOQL or SOQL or SQL. It's similar to that. So the way we used to write where clause in SOQL or the way we used to write the where clause in SQL, it's similar to that. The way of implementation will be different, and we'll see that what are the different ways that we can apply filters, and what are the different operators will be available which will help us to apply filters. And using where in GraphQL to filter records will where we'll be querying the objects. So if we talk about the various filter operators, so these are the filter operators. So these filter operators you will be going to explore while you will be applying filters on a query by using GraphQL. So there's an equal function, we have not equal function, less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to, like, in, not in, or element in a, is an element in a query, not is not an element in a query. So these all are the different functions available. So you can use these functions whenever you want to add a filter in your query. So let's begin the demonstration and let me show you how do we add a where clause, how do we add a where condition in GraphQL. So for this, let me switch back to my Salesforce environment, and I will be using Altair tool in order to draft my GraphQL queries, and in order to testing the GraphQL queries, I will be using my Altair tool. So as you can see that I have successfully connected. So let me show you. When I send a request, I'm able to get the data, because this is a simple query which we added in the previous session where we display the account ID, name, and annual revenue. Now I just wanted to apply a filter on this, and in order to have a look at how do we add filters in SOQL, so let me take you to the developer console query editor, and let's suppose I just write here select ID, comma, name, comma, annual revenue from account. And when we execute this, we able to get the data. But now if I want to add a filter on this, if I want to apply any filter on this, how do we do that? So that I can use where clause. I can write where, let's say where name like colon percent oil percent. And when we execute, so once. So my bad, actually, we need to write where name like percent oil percent, single quotes close, and when we execute, so we have three accounts which with matching this oil, United Oil and Gas Corporation, which contains oil, United Oil and Gas Singapore, and United Oil and Gas UK. So I applied a filter, or I applied a where clause actually by using SOQL. Now let's check it out that how do we apply a SOQL query by using Altair. And in order to understand this, let me switch to my Let me switch to I'll remove this one actually. I'll remove it and I'm going to filter out I'm going to fetch all the record. We have the ID. Now, first of all, I will show you how do we add the where clause and where are we going to add it. So we will be going to add the where clause at line number 7 after account. So after account, we will be going to write the where clause. So as you can see, the structure is query account list, UI API, query account, and within the account, we'll start with a round bracket, and as soon as we type, we'll be getting the options. We are getting options for after, first, order by, scope, upper bound, and where. I'm going to add a filter, so I will be using where condition. Now, where? Now, I need to apply a filter. Now, for example, so the first condition which I'm going to add here is I just wanted to fetch a specific account based on the account ID. For example, I would like to fetch this account based on the account ID. So I copy this ID from here and this ID I'm going to pass. So how do we pass the ID? How do we pass this ID here? So where colon curly bracket ID colon, again we have to start a curly bracket and then we have to use the functions which I demonstrated to which I share the functions to you. Then we need to use any one of them. So I just want the function, I just want to display a specific record which is equals to. So here I'm using a function called EQ function. Or to know more about the operators, as soon as we start, as soon as we press, as soon as I press control space, you can see I got all these operators. So I just pass here space and EQ colon, and here I need to paste the ID. So I paste my ID here, EQ, I paste my ID. That should be in double quotes, not in single quote, because this is not Apex. So double quotes. And now when I run query, when I send a request, you will be able to see I'm able to get a specific account which is tied up to this ID. That account is the University of Arizona. Simple. Now, so what we did here, we'll be able to fetch the record based on a specific ID. Now, if I want to fetch multiple record, let's suppose I want to fetch record. I just want to fetch the details for this account, for this account, for this account, multiple accounts. Then what we'll do, instead of EQ, I'm going to change this. And how do we change this? We have to be very careful with the brackets. So I'll just remove this. I'll just remove this. And instead of this, I will be using here in colon, because it's a collection. So collection always enclosed in square brackets. And here we have to paste the account ID. So first ID is this one. Let's suppose I just copy this ID and copy, comma, second ID. I need the second ID, second record, let's say United Oil and Gas. I copy this ID and need to paste an ID here. So two records. Let me add one more ID so that we'll see. And I'll just say the third one is, for example, sample accounts for entitlement. I copy this ID and paste here. Three records, three IDs I pass. And when we send a request, you can see Grand Hotels and Resorts, United Oil and Gas Corporation, and sample accounts for entitlements. So like this way, we will be able to fetch the multiple records from this. We'll be able to fetch multiple IDs, multiple records. So here I use in operator if I want to filter out, if I want to fetch multiple records, then I will be using this in operator. Now, as you saw that I just want to add a filter. I just wanted to filter an account. I just write here where account, where name, like, single quotes, percent, oil, percent, for example. And when we execute, so it will filter out only those accounts, those record whose name contains oil. So I would like to apply this filter in Altair. So how can we do this? Let me remove this much first of all. And as I mentioned, be very careful while writing this one. So I remove where colon name. This time we will be adding a filter on name colon like colon, and here we write double quotes percent oil percent. Percent oil percent. And when I send a request, you can see I will be able to fetch the similar records. United Oil and Gas Corporation, three records will be there. And if we want edges, I write here total count. So when we execute, when we say, we'll be able to see the total three records. So where name like oil percent. Now, I would like to filter out the record based on the range wise. Let's suppose I would like to filter out the records. I just wanted to display all those records which will be created 90 days ago, 3 months ago. I just want to add a filter. So how can we do that? For this, let me remove this one. First of all, let me remove this, and we need to apply a filter based on a range. So where colon created date colon less than equals to. So my requirement is I would like to filter out all those records which will be created in last 7 days, for example. So less than equals to colon. Then we need to use here range colon number of days ago. How many days ago? 7 days. So number of days ago, 7. I give 7 years. So that means this will be going to filter out. It will extract those records, the records which will be created in last 7 days. See, it says less than 7 days ago. So when I say send request, so how many records will be there? We can just go and check. There will be total 24. If I'll say less than let's say 90 days and 10 days ago, 90 days ago, 0 records will be added. And we can just go and check we can go and check here also the number of records. I just write annual revenue, comma, created date, execute. And these records will, all these records actually created on the same date because, okay, almost all the records will be created on the same date. So like 12 months and like December and January. So that's the reason less than this. Now, if I want 7 days, so I'll just write here, let me change this to GTE. Obviously, these are the these all are the 24 records which will be created. So this is the way we can apply a range. Now, I would like to know, we can use here literals also, like in GraphQL, we can use literals also. The purpose of using literals is to specify that we want to specify like current week or today. So that we can do. And how do we do that? Let me remove this one, created date colon EQ colon. See, when we enter, we'll be adding literals, range and value. So in the previous one, we'll use range. This time I'm using literals, colon, and literals, colon. See, last 90 days, last fiscal quarter, last fiscal year, last month. I would like, so this will display the records which will be added in the last month, last quarter, last week, last year, next 90 days, right? So for the next one, maybe the opportunities will be closing in next 24 days, or the leads which their closing date will be set as the next 30 days. So we can filter those records. My concern is I just wanted to filter out the records which will be created today. So therefore here I will be using today. And when I execute, you can see 0 record because no records will be created today. Now, let's suppose if I add a new account, I'll quickly navigate to the sales application and I'm going to add a new account on today's date. Let's do that and test it. So I just go to account, click on new. So accidentally get closed. So I just reopen it account and I'm going to add a new account today. So let's say I'll just write here, let's say GraphQL test account, and phone number I set like this, annual revenue, I'm going to set annual revenue, let's say this, and save this. So this record will be created in today's date, right? If you can see, if I'll check the details and created date, you can see the created date is today's date. Now let's query the record one more time. Now this time when I make a request, I'm able to get this record now because this record will be created today's date. Perfect. So that's the way we can query or we can filter out the records. Now the next is, I would like to filter, I just wanted to display the record based on condition. Condition like, I just want to display all those records where annual revenue between this and this. So we can say from account where annual revenue annual revenue greater than this and annual revenue less than this, and execute query. So we don't have any records right now between this. So let me increase this and increase this and execute. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 records will be there. So I just want to run the same query over here. How do I test it? So first of all, I need to remove this one, remove this. Now we need to apply a filter. So where colon annual revenue, and we want a range. So annual revenue will be equals to, it's in a range. So annual revenue, and will be, if you can see here, that would be greater than less than. So I'll just write here annual revenue. Sorry about that error message. So annual revenue, I'll just write here greater than colon, and what's the value greater than will be this much. So I'll copy this value here, copy this value greater than, comma, less than, and the value less. So less than. And when we execute, you can see the total number of records, 7 records. So these are the same 7 records which we retrieve over here. So that's the way we can apply a where condition. Now, if I want to add, see in this case, we will be applying a range here, like we have annual revenue greater than, less than. Let's suppose I would like to apply a filter using AND operator, AND or operator. So for example, I just want to apply a filter on 2 fields. So how are we going to do that? So in order to do this, first of all, let me remove this one where, and because we need to add multiple conditions, so I'll start with where colon. Now I need AND operator, so I can use here AND operator, AND colon. We need to pass 2 conditions. So and 2 conditions will be part as a collection. So I write 2 conditions, square bracket. Then the first condition will be in this one, and I just write here, let's say annual revenue greater than colon, the same value we pass here. Basically, we are using AND operator, so I can use this annual revenue, this greater than this. The second condition is, I want a second condition on name. So name colon like colon percent oil percent. So we just write 2 conditions, and this is AND operator. So when we execute this, we'll get only 1 record. If you want to try it out, if you want to try out here, I just write here annual revenue this and name like percent, name like percent oil percent. And when we execute, we'll get 1 response. So yeah, so I just missed this one, the single quotes. And when I execute this query now, you can see only 1 record is coming, United Oil and Gas Corporation. This is the one. So this is AND operator. Instead of AND, we can use OR operator also. And when we run this, it's like, for example, here also, instead of AND, if I change this to OR and execute, then we got multiple records where annual revenue is greater than this and this. Like, so we'll be getting all these records. If I increase the amount, then obviously we'll have the less number of records, or name like this oil which contains oil. Or if I'll write here less than this much, so we can basically, these are the number of records I want. Let's suppose I want this one, and this is OR operator. So I'm using OR operator where annual revenue, instead of greater than, I will be using less than, and the amount will be this one. So I copy this amount and I will paste this amount here. I will paste this amount here, and oil percent. When we run, the total number of records will be getting 7 records. So like this way, we can use AND and OR operator. So this one is simple. Now, the next one is a complex one. What do you mean by that? Let's say we would like to apply a nested filter. Nested filter means we want AND, and within AND, we want multiple conditions. So you can consider like this. First of all, we want to filter by AND operator, and within AND operator, we want to write multiple conditions. So the concept will be like this. First of all, we are going to add a filter. So let me remove this first of all. We'll be writing it again. So the first I'm going to add a filter. So where colon end colon, and within end I will be starting with or. So or colon, and within or we have two conditions. So within or, so in order to understand this, I will just write it like this. This is within and, this is condition 1, this is condition 2. And in this condition 1, I will be using or colon. And here also I will be using or colon. And within this or, we need to write two conditions. I'm going to pass two conditions. So the first condition is name colon like colon percent oil percent. Name like colon oil percent. This is one condition. Second condition is annual revenue colon less than colon. So this is this is or in the first one. Then we have the or. I'm going to write the or in the second one. So here this will be, let's say, okay, the first condition is type, account type colon equals to colon prospect, comma, industry colon equals to colon. Actually, for this prospect, we don't require this one, but for equals to, I need this equals to banking. So as you can see, we got multiple conditions. These are the first, that's the first condition on which the OR operator is going to run. These are the two conditions on which OR operator is going to run, and on both of the result, then end will execute. And when we send a request, we'll get a response. So we got 0 records. So there will be no records which meet the criteria. This is how we can apply a nested filter. What is it? This is a nested. So this is the way we can apply filters in Salesforce using GraphQL queries. Basically, we can apply filters using where clause in GraphQL queries in order to fetch the data from SQL. So I hope this video, you found this video useful and interesting. If that's so, if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please do that. Like and post your comment in the comment below section. And also watch my previous videos where I have explained about GraphQL and other functionalities in Salesforce. So that's all for the day. We'll come up with a new video, and in the new video, I will be going to demonstrate that how in the next video, we'll be going to talk about how do we apply sorting or order in GraphQL on a Salesforce data. That's all for the day. Have a nice day. Goodbye.